make sure all systems are go. Okay, make sure we're live. All right, very good. We're live on YouTube. We are live on, there we go. So we are live on YouTube and live on Rumble. There we go, looking good all over the place. Very nice. Just give me a few, guys. I've been working on this literally all day. Like, it has been. So let me get all my windows where they need to be so I can go ahead and start the show here. All right. Okay, so welcome to Sharpe Sports Talk. This is, I guess, more or less a passion project of mine. Those of you who have followed me, oh, okay, then, there we go. Those of you who have followed me for any amount of time, you guys know I'm a huge sports fan, and I watch I love sports, guys. I watch them all the time. I consume sports almost constantly. Football is my favorite sport. Followed second, close second is probably baseball. I'll watch the NBA. I'll watch the NBA every once in a while, more specifically during the playoffs. I'm a huge race fan. I watch all the circuits. I love Formula One, love NASCAR, love IndyCar, but I realize that most people are not, at least most of you guys are not into auto racing. So I figured only if something is really interesting will I talk about it. So today. And I apologize. It's going to be a little bit choppy. But this is just something. This is my first time doing this, at least from the sports side. So today we're going to talk about a few things. We're going to talk about Coach Prime and his impact on college football, where I was when this whole Coach Prime thing first started, and where I am now. We're also going to talk about a very, very important legal battle going on between Charter and ESPN, Charter Spectrum, more specifically. That has major ramifications. And the only people who really understand the gravity of the situation are people who are sports fans. We'll get to that later. We will also discuss my NFL predictions. I'm going to give you all my division winners. I'm going to give my playoff winners. I'm going to give you my MVP. I'm going to give you my defensive player of the year. I'm going to give you my offensive player of the year, my rookies of the year, and all that good stuff. If you have anything to ask or comment or talk about it, whatever the case may be, give me a call, 516-387-1987. Again, that is 516 387-1987. Hang on a second. Okay. All right. Oh, okay. Hang on, guys. All right. Very good. So let's go ahead and get things started here. So I'm going to talk a little bit. So let's talk about Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, man. When Deion Sanders started getting the notoriety that he now has, he was at Jackson State. Obviously, that is an HBCU. I remember when College Game Day went out to Jackson State. Pat McAfee was out there. It was a great time. It really was. And, of course, Jackson State put on a show. Sorry, guys. Okay. Sorry about that. All right, sorry about that. So he gets all this notoriety at Jackson State. His son Shedeur Sanders obviously is his quarterback. He is honestly he's coached his son since he was a kid, since he was a child, and so Shedeur Sanders has really never played for anyone but Coach Prime. Well, Deion Sanders then ends up at the University of Colorado, and he really made a huge splash when he basically told most of the guys. Now, the rumor was, we all saw on TV, he said, look, I came with my own baggage. Most of you aren't going to be here, blah, 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 blah. That's not how most of the players ended up leaving the program. Most of them quit. Now, there were, I think, 20 to 25 players that Deion sat down with and says, hey, look, I appreciate what you did. I appreciate what you did here last year, but we're going to go in another direction. You know, listen. And they told him, look, we will help you get into another school. We'll help you get another scholarship. We're not just going to leave you high and dry, but you no longer have a scholarship here at the University of Colorado. That's what happened. The narrative was that he came in and just, kicked everybody out. And that is essentially what he did. But guys, Colorado was 1-11 last year. They were terrible. So I don't know why anybody has a problem with Coach Prime coming in and cleaning house, especially because that's what he's there to do. But let's talk about the elephant in the room with Coach Prime. Let's just talk about the elephant in the room with Coach Prime. He's an African American. He's an African American college football coach. Now, there are other African American college football coaches. We know all about them. Kevin Sumlin was formerly at I think it was Texas A&M. There was Turner Gill down at the University of Buffalo. The coach of Notre Dame, Marcus. Oh my God, I can't believe I've forgotten his name. The coach at Notre Dame, African American. But Deion Sanders is the first African American coach that is authentically himself. We all remember when he played baseball and football, more specifically football. He was with the Atlanta Falcons, too legit to quit. MC Hammer's on the sidelines. Deion he's a 2-time Super Bowl champion. He's one of only 3. So Deion Sanders is one of only 3 players that I can think of. Only 3 guys that I can think of who won back-to-back Super Bowls with different teams. He won Super Bowl 29 with the 49ers when they dump trucked the San Diego Chargers. Then he was traded. Then he went to the Cowboys, where they won Super Bowl 30 over the then Steelers. The only 2 other guys that I can think of that did that are Chris Long and LeGarrette Blount. They won Super Bowl 51 with the New England Patriots when they came back against Atlanta. Then they won Super Bowl 52 against the Patriots as members of the Philadelphia Eagles. Anyway, so Deion was this huge megastar. And he seems to have brought a different kind of swag, I guess, to the coaching ranks. Now, admittedly, it rubbed me the wrong way. It really did. And the reason it rubbed me the wrong way is because I just didn't know what was happening behind the scenes. I thought it was all about Deion Sanders, and don't get me wrong, I'm not going to sit here and say that Deion does not have an ego. He clearly has an ego, and that's okay. But you know how and you guys know I'm not a race guy. I try not to bring, legitimately bring the racial element. But we all remember the contrast between Cam Newton and Phillip Rivers. Cam Newton was a fiery guy, fiery leader, but he was looked at as a malcontent. Whereas Phillip Rivers, who acted almost exactly the same way, sans curse words, he was looked at as a fiery leader. Like, fiery leader, he's passionate. But Cam Newton is a malcontent. He's disrespectful, et cetera, et cetera. So some of the same parallels with Deion were happening here, myself included. I even said the day before the game, I said I would never trust my son. If I had a son, I would not trust him with Deion Sanders, just given who I thought he was. So then we watched Colorado upset TCU. And I got to tell you, it probably took me maybe 5 minutes into the first quarter before I started pulling for Buffalo, right? And so I was like, dude, are they actually going to do this? And I remember in the third quarter, I said to Dev, I was like, listen, whether Colorado wins or loses, they win because they're legit. Well, they obviously go on to win the game in a wild shootout. Listen, man, that's Pac-12, Big 12 football. Defense is optional. And so then I decided to watch the Coach Prime documentary on, I think it was Amazon Prime. Completely changed my mind. I had no idea that Deion Sanders had coached kids for the better part of the last 15, 20 years. He loves kids. He's known a lot of these kids that he has at Colorado since they were in diapers. Behind the scenes, he's, positive affirmations. He's a tough. It's almost as though Deion Sanders, it's almost as though it's almost like he has started this grassroots football community. All the same kids and all the same coaches sort of rising through the ranks. Now, I don't think he's going to take this act to the NFL, though a lot of people didn't think that he was going to do this with Colorado, at least not this quickly. We all thought Colorado was going to be at least a little bit clunky, right? You just got rid of, 75% of your scholarship athletes. What, you had 68 scholarship athletes and coming in through the transfer portal. You don't expect a team to just gel like that, but they did. They did. They looked together, and then, of course, Shedeur Sanders, dude, he shocked me. He throws for 510 yards. So the book on him was like, hey, you're playing against HBCUs, right? The talent at HBCUs is not as talented or as deep as big time Division I college football. So what does Shedeur Sanders do? He goes out and sets a personal career high in his first game at a Power 5 conference. And so Shedeur Sanders, and he was pinpoint accurate, and Deion Sanders said it at halftime. He said, look, man, if not for those 2 drop passes, we'd have the Heisman at the crib. He's right. Because if those two passes are caught, dude, Shedeur might have had 600 yards, another 2 or 3 touchdowns. And, of course, Dylan Edwards scored 4 touchdowns. And then the dual threat. I'm a little nervous, guys, so just stay with me here. The dual threat, I've already... Travis somebody. I forgot what his name is. Somebody can help me out. Somebody can help me out in the chat. But Travis Hunter, Travis Hunter caught 9 balls and had an interception, almost had 2 interceptions. The Colorado Buffaloes are for real. So my overall take on the whole Deion Sanders situation is that I jumped to conclusions. I was judging Deion Sanders based on what I thought he was as a player. All the flash, the cowboy hat, the chains, and all that good stuff. I did not think that that could work. I didn't think that could work at big-time college football. Now here's the thing. It's only one game. Okay? I'm not going to anoint him quite yet, but I think we all agree that Deion is way ahead of schedule. And look, man, like I said, I was one of the people who was like, no, I don't like this cockiness. I don't like that. Guess what, man? Whatever he is doing is working. And I would strongly encourage anybody who has look, you don't have to take my word for it. I'm not telling you that you should have to like Deion or not like him. But me personally, it's all about wins and losses. It's all about wins and losses and raising young men up to be solid young men. Deion Sanders is like a father figure, man. Deion Sanders is like a father figure to these guys. And so that's my opinion on the Deion Sanders situation. Jay Blay says, I respect Deion with everything but X's and O's. Totally agree. That's the same way we feel about Nick Sirianni here in Philadelphia. Nick Sirianni is not exactly an X's and O's guy, but last year he had the 2 best coordinators, Shane Steichen and Jonathan Gannon. Shane Steichen turned Jalen Hurts basically into an MVP, who, by the way, outplayed Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, if not for a questionable call at the end. Maybe we're having a different conversation. Jonathan Gannon led a defense that had 4 players who had 10 sacks each. That's the first time I think that's the first time I think I've ever seen or heard of anything like that. All right, let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to the phone lines here. Let us go. Oh, looks like Jay Blaze. Jay Blaze, you're on live with Donovan. Go ahead, man.
You know who was an underrated coach in the NFL? It was Caldwell.
Oh, Jim Caldwell, yes.
Remember him?
Yep.
So he wasn't the most fiery guy, and of course Deion's way more fiery, but he had a CEO presence, and
right.
That's what Deion is giving to this program. I guarantee the coordinators are way more X and O's. He has them do the defense and the offense, but he is managing the players, and you can tell these players really respect him.
Yeah, man. And I remember, and again, Blaze, I was like, dude, I would not trust my son with Deion Sanders. But after watching him on the sidelines, because I'd never watched him coach a game in my life, I just thought he was, honestly, I thought he was just basically a guy who's walking up and down, flashing his chain, singing too legit to quit, but he really is into it. And when you watch that documentary, you can see that this is almost like a quasi grassroots sort of football factory that he started. And I can't say I don't respect that. Not anymore.
So 2 years ago, I heard him say, "I want players from two-parent families." Like he is very he's emphasizing, I want two-parent family kids. So that told me something, but I didn't see him taking a program this fast and winning. But yeah, it's impressive to see. And I do want to have some words on the Spectrum thing.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Let me drop you off now, and when I start talking about that, I'll bring you back on. All right.
All right, thank you.
All right, no problem. Jay Blaze up in Maine. Let's go to, I think this Apollo?
Yeah, it is, Don. How's it going?
Hey, what's going on, brother? I was thinking it was either you or Lattimore, one of the two. What's going on, brother? How you doing, man?
All right. Yeah, my thing on Deion was when I gained the most respect for him, like, of course, as a player, seeing him play, coming up with the Falcons and 49ers and everything, was when I found out that he didn't drink or do drugs.
Yes,
and it was like, okay, a guy that can go to Florida State, be in Atlanta, be in San Francisco, be in Dallas, and not partake in that life,
yeah, man.
I gained a lot more respect from him, even with all the bravado and flashing on it, just because if you can avoid that, it's like, man, that gives me, a little bit more respect for the guy. And then, obviously following sports, and remember he had a show, like a reality show with Tracy Edmonds, and it was following like him with the Prime Academy and all that. So I knew about him with the kids and coaching and stuff. So even then gained more respect because it didn't seem like it was fake that he really cared about these kids.
Man, I'll tell you what, dude. I don't think I ever thought he didn't care about the kids. I thought he cared more about clout. And look, to a degree, maybe that is a part of it. But every coach has an ego, right? And clout is what gets you recruits. This is why Nick Saban, who's normally a very gruff guy, he started, like, the SEC started catching up to him. So what does Nick Saban start doing? He starts going to College Game Day. He starts doing Geico or Aflac commercials, and now he's doing them with Deion Sanders. So now he's reaching out. I mean, Deion he's probably gonna start out recruiting Nick Saban at this point.
Right, I agree. And one thing I wanted to ask, is like, so what? I know we already had the game last night, but what, if you had to give your like Super Bowl predictions or even AFC and NFC champions, then who were you, thinking or looking as will be the like AFC and NFC?
Stay tuned. I've got all that coming up.
Okay.
I've got all my picks and everything. Thanks for calling, Paul. Look, if you want to jump back in on another one of these topics, feel free to call back in, man.
Okay, all right, appreciate it.
All right, no problem, man. Yes. So, So yes, my NFL predictions are coming up, and again, guys, we're gonna go. Guys, I'm gonna give you all of my division winners, all of my predictions. I'm gonna give you my playoff predictions. I'm gonna give you my Super Bowl 58 prediction. I'm gonna give you my offensive player of the year prediction, my defensive player of the year, my rookies of the year, my MVP, comeback player of the year. We're gonna get into all of that. But before we get into those things, and now I need to find my notes. Wait a minute. I know this is a little choppy, guys, but there we go. Stay with me here. So, but before we get into that, we need to talk. We need to talk about something that I truly believe this is going to be a watershed moment in sports, and this is not an exaggeration. So what is happening now is Charter Spectrum customers. Okay, Charter Spectrum customers pay their cable bill, whatever the case may be. Then, of course, you have your packages, NFL, ESPN, Sunday NFL Ticket if you have DirecTV, blah, 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 blah. Well, ESPN had like 100 million subscribers to their ESPN Plus, Disney Plus, all their subsidiaries. What has just been found out is that for the last, I would say 10 years, ESPN has been charging people who don't watch ESPN for ESPN. So let me put it to you like this. 100% of people who have Charter Spectrum, right? You have 100, right? Only 20% of those people actually want ESPN, okay? But 100% of people are paying for it. You guys understand where that's going? So 80% of people who don't care about sports, and guys, we're in the sports bubble, right? A lot of sports fans foolishly think that, hey, everybody else watches sports. The Super Bowl is the highest rated TV show in the world. Yeah, well, okay, most people do watch the Super Bowl, but most people, I mean, I heard a guy say on Whitlock the other day, he'd go out, he doesn't even remember the last, he goes out and, most people don't even know who the last 2 Super Bowl participants were, right? Now, we know it was the Eagles and Chiefs, right? But most people don't. Anyway, what has happened is 80% of Charter Spectrum customers are subsidizing 100% of these ESPN salaries. And here's where the rubber really meets the road, guys. This is the reason for these exorbitant salaries at ESPN. Okay? You've got Stephen A. Smith. He makes $12 million a year. Adrian Wojnarowski, $7 million a year. Adam Schefter makes $9 million a year. First Take gets between 400 and 450,000 viewers per day. But somehow they can afford to pay Stephen A. Smith? The reason why they're able to afford to pay Stephen A. Smith is because of the 80% of people who don't care about ESPN paying for ESPN. Okay? ESPN has become the megaphone now really for the woke agenda. And we all talk about this stuff all the time. They all espouse woke talking points. Men bad, women good. Equal pay for the U.S. women's national team. All the woke propaganda. They literally, these guys have literally shit on their audience. And the audience has clearly said, we don't like this. We don't like this. Okay? How are they able to stay on the air if you're literally insulting your audience? That's what ESPN's done. They have told their audience, men from ages 18 to 35 or whatever it is, you don't matter. You suck. You guys are bad. We need to get, domestic violence and this and that. We all know. I don't even have to have this conversation. Every single one of us, most of us who watched ESPN as children, we're like, dude, this is not what we want. Like, no, this is not what we want. But they were able to stay on the air. Guys, this is why it's happened. ESPN has become, they are basically a company that has subsidized corporate opinions. They talk about the kinds of things we don't care about. SJW stuff, woke stuff. Black Lives Matter, all this other kind of nonsense, but they managed to stay on the air. And guys, look, all the usual suspects. Michelle Beadle, who is a fucking banshee. Jamel Hill, who is a miserable human being. Elle Duncan, Molly Kiram, all of them. This is why they're able to pay these exorbitant salaries. Okay? So what's going to happen is if Charter decides to go with this a la carte route, and what I mean by a la carte is the only money ESPN is going to get is from the people who actually watch it, rather than, having the 80% subsidizing 100% of the revenue. What's going to end up happening is they're going to have to start putting out content that people actually want to watch. Now, listen, we all love watching Stephen A. Smith and formerly Max Kellerman going back and forth. But then when they get into the social justice warrior stuff, it's stupid. Like the woke media, the woke agenda, it's absolutely ridiculous. Nobody wants to watch that. Nobody wants to watch that. No Sorrel for L says Malika Andrews ran it right into the ground. Dude, Malika Andrews, Kendrick Perkins. I love Kendrick Perkins. But he's not that good. He's really not. So if they go to this a la carte model, which is the way it should have been in the first place, it's going to be a meritocracy. If you're good, you get on the air. Why? Because if ESPN does go with a la carte, again, meaning that the only people paying for ESPN will be the people who watch it, ESPN will have major cuts if they don't shut it down altogether. They're going to have major cuts. And guys, we've seen the writing on the wall for a while. They just had a slew of layoffs. And then, of course, the narrative is, well, there's nothing wrong with what's going on. Everything is fine. No, everything is not fine. Like I said, ESPN has spent the better part of the last decade literally spitting on its customers. Telling us they don't like us. We don't like you, but we want you to watch us. And they were the only option for a while, so we didn't really have a choice. Well, now FS1 has come into the fray, and FS1 has picked up a lot of that ESPN talent. And FS1 does do some woke stuff, but not quite as much. At least not as far as I know. But for years and years and years, guys, the real talented guys at ESPN, guys like Colin Cowherd, Jason Whitlock, Mike Wilbon, Tony Kornhauser, those guys subsidized all of the weak talent at ESPN for years. The only reason why Bomani Jones had a platform for so long is because of guys like Cowherd. Jamel Hill, same deal, is because of guys like Jason Whitlock. Jamel Hill, Bomani Jones, Malika Andrews, all they do is push race. It's ridiculous. Everything is race-based. Everything is, again, Black Lives Matter and all that. And I don't sound eloquent, but all of these people have been carried by actual talent, guys. So what's going to end up happening is that it's going to be a meritocracy. If you don't get ratings, you're not going to be on the air. I love Stephen A. Smith, but 450,000, dude, more people watch Fresh and Fit than they watch First Take. More people watch Fresh and Fit than people who watch First Take. That's just the facts. That's the facts. So how in the world how does ESPN afford to pay Stephen A. Smith $12 million a year? All the other guys, Mike Greenberg, Damian Woody, it's because people who don't watch ESPN are paying for ESPN. And when you have people who don't watch something or don't care about something paying for something, well, you can say and do whatever you want. We're only going to piss off 20% of our consumer base. That's why it has kept getting worse and worse and worse. That's why it was a runaway train. But now that somebody has pointed this out, now that this legal battle is going on, now people are starting to understand, oh, wait a minute, why am I paying for sports if I don't watch sports? So I think there's probably, I don't know, who knows, there could be a class action lawsuit, maybe refunds, I don't know. But guys, this right here will change the entire landscape of sports talk and sports media. Right now, ESPN has something like $100 billion in contracts out. They pay the NFL $2.6 billion per year for Monday Night Football. $2.6 billion. Then they got to pay their production staff, right? Then they got to pay production, right? Then they got to pay Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. They don't come cheap. How are they able to do this? They are able to do this. The reason why they are still on the air, the reason why ESPN has not been canceled, the reason they should be canceled is because they continue to piss off their customer base, but 80% of people who pay for ESPN don't watch ESPN. It's insane. All right, let's go back to Jay Blaze. So Jay Blaze, what are your thoughts on this situation here?
So they have been doing this for the past few years, like, you remember YouTube TV was $30 a month?
Yes.
So because Disney owns ESPN and a bunch of channels, this is why these people are subsidizing ESPN, because of Disney. Disney is forcing these cable companies to accept every single channel.
Yep.
Instead of picking and choosing, having a customer pick and choose which one, because they're so broke. Disney stock price went from over $200 to $80.
What?
They need the subsidizing. Yeah.
So do you think?
Plus,
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Let me ask you this, and Dre Raven says, and people wonder why cable is so damn expensive. I don't believe that ESPN is a sellable commodity at this point. I think they're hemorrhaging money. I think they're hemorrhaging cash. I mean, people are throwing around companies like Apple might want to buy ESPN, possibly Amazon. I mean, what are your thoughts there? Is anybody going to bail them out, or is this it?
So ESPN is literally what Blockbuster was towards the end.
Wow!
They're a middleman.
Wow!
So, Disney, they're losing money on ESPN.
Yes.
Because of, and especially after the NBA contract is up, NBA is going to want even more money. But their ratings don't adjust to it.
That's right.
Because when Michael Jordan was in the league, they were getting like 20 million people tuning in.
Right.
I don't think they even break 6 million on an average game. But they're expecting to get triple the money from their contract.
Oh my God!
And
this
ESPN can't pay for that.
They can't. Well, not only can they not pay for or subsidize it, the reason why they can't is because of what they do on the air. Think about let's just stick with NBA here, Blaze. Let's think about truthfully, I think ESPN's NBA personalities, they've done a lot of the damage. Again, Malika Andrews, Kendrick Perkins, Richard Jefferson. I don't really have a problem with, but what it really comes down to is that the way ESPN operates, especially with the NBA, they're the biggest culprits of all.
So Malik Andrews hates black men. She absolutely despises black men.
Yes, she does.
And so they're pushing virtue signal points, and that Orlando COVID, the thing, ruined the NBA for a lot of people.
Yeah.
When they had the Black Lives Matter on their back and stuff. And it's tough to bring those people back. You have politicized your league, and you cannot bring politics into sports.
No.
Sports is supposed to be the relief. That's supposed to be the thing that unifies people.
Yes. Sports is the one thing, and thanks for calling in, Jay Blaze. Sports is the one thing that unifies everybody. It does. Dude, I mean, people from different backgrounds, different walks of life. It was funny. I was actually having this conversation with Dev a couple of weeks ago because we're all excited about, football is coming back. Guys, football is like a 5-month holiday in this country, man. It's a 5-month holiday. Everybody loves everybody except for their starting quarterback, right? But yeah, sports is supposed to be a unifying mechanism. But Disney has decided to use sports as a way to push the woke agenda. And they wonder why their ratings are down. Let's go back to Apollo. Apollo, what you got, man?
Calling in, what you're saying about this is that you're wondering why you're seeing more and more of the Amazons, and then isn't Mother Sports, I forget what is it, I don't know if it's Sunday Night Football or college football or something going to I don't know if it's Peacock or to another one of the apps. You wonder why now you're seeing these companies buying up these sports packages because the networks can no longer afford to keep paying these contracts.
That's right.
And like you're saying with the Spectrum Sports, and I had a friend that worked in TV, and he broke down that, I think 30 or 35% of the cable bill is going to these sports packages. It's just guys under other, whenever you look at your bill, fees for this, fees for that, it's really just, word salad for it. We're paying, we're paying for these sports packages. And
wow, man.
I think at a certain point, it's going to be like they're not going to be able to, it won't be the goose that lays the golden egg anymore because networks just won't be able to afford it.
Here's something else, Apollo. I think and it's interesting because the Pat McAfee show just started. Pat McAfee, he got a 5-year, I think $85 million contract with ESPN. He is actually in direct competition with Colin Cowherd. I like Pat McAfee, but I've watched Colin for almost 20 years at this point. So was that a smart move by them? Maybe not. But my point is that Pat McAfee represents the fusion of cable, of mainstream media, and YouTube. YouTube, Apollo, appears to be the only medium that sports fans can go to get an objective opinion about the things that happen off the field. Now, obviously, things that happen on the field, and I'll talk about Kansas City and Detroit here shortly. But what this really comes down to is Pat McAfee represents sort of the future. What are your thoughts on that?
I definitely 100% agree because I used to be an avid fan, I'm sure like you, with SportsCenter, watch it all the time, even the replays. And then once they started kind of getting away from that, I was just like, this isn't, like you said, this isn't what I wanted. So I started watching Fox Sports, and I love, Skip and Shannon when it was them. But like you said, First Things First, and even Colin Cowherd and other shows on there because they're sticking more to what we want to hear about. They have their certain moments where they talk about stuff, but it's not overwhelming.
Sure, right.
And I agree with you, right, the YouTube stuff, we see with the Logan Paul and Jake Paul, like, YouTube guys that are making massive, amounts of money, boxing, going into WWE, all that stuff, because they're bringing to the masses what people want to see nowadays.
It's interesting, Apollo. People in the mainstream still want to hit them with the moniker of, well, he's internet famous, as if being internet famous is not legit. Guys, internet celebrities are the new celebrities. Internet celebrities are the new celebrities. We all know who Jake Paul is now, right? And I can guarantee the average person probably knows more about Jake Paul than a guy like maybe Jalen Hurts, who's in the National fucking Football League. I'll give you the last word.
And it's crazy because I started seeing, because my brother, I'm switching it a little bit, but like to the YouTube thing where our brother does comedy and whatnot, and going to comedy shows with him and then going to comedy shows myself, you're seeing more and more YouTube people being at like improvs and comedy shows.
Yes.
Because they're getting the audiences, so more people are going to go see them at comedy shows than normal comedies because they get a wider audience.
Yep, that's exactly right. And thanks for the call, Apollo. Here's something else. A lot of these corporations now, how can I put this? A lot of these corporations, if they really wanted to take advantage, because a lot of these channels, we give you guys direct access to us, right? Advertisers can jump aboard and say, hey, man, we can slash our advertising budget by 90% because we know that the people watching are watching what they want to watch. Jay Blaze says, social media killed the Hollywood star. I love that. KB Elliott says, one thing I noticed that nobody's speaking on about the Lions is that Campbell is starting to learn clock management. Let's go ahead and, is that my next topic? Well, anyway, to put a bow on this, Jeremy Palamo says, who's going to win the Super Bowl? Any predictions? Stay tuned. I got all my predictions coming up. My defensive player of the year, offensive rookie of the year. Stay tuned. I'm giving you guys all of my predictions. Yes, I am biased. I'm just going to go ahead and warn you up front, but it is what it is. So stay tuned for that. So this is when you know it's serious. when Stephen A. Smith, this is actually a tweet from Stephen A. Smith, says, don't know if y'all heard about the news going on with the charter markets with Spectrum, but folks are once again coming after the worldwide leader. Fans currently don't have access to live games on ESPN networks or any content from Disney-branded channels, Freeform, FX, or Net and Nat Geo. If you are personally affected, if you want to see ESPN for live games, the U.S. Open, or anything else your heart desires from the sports world, you can visit this website, keepmynetworks.com, for information about where you can get it. Bottom line, you have choices, DirecTV, Hulu, blah, 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 blah. Just download the app and sign up with no service call. So now Stephen A. understands the economics of what's happening. That's why he's trying to get as many of these sports customers over to these a la carte type apps as humanly possible. That's it. Iron Frame on the Rumble side says the UFC did ESPN a huge favor by partnering with them. I agree, and Jay Blaze actually said he said that I think he said ESPN needed Pat McAfee more than McAfee needed them. Like, it's all good. Like, dude, I totally understand it. We've got this troll in here. 305 Writer says, predict all you want, bro. You're going down in the TSR League this year. Fins up. Yeah, get him out of here. Miami J with the early shit talking. Okay, let's move to the yes. So last night we watched a fantastic game. Real quick, Zebian, welcome to chat privileges. Come on. There it is. At Zevium to welcome him to the TSR family. Appreciate that very, very much. Let's see here. So, the Detroit Lions upset the Kansas City Chiefs last night 21-20. And this is another difference. Yeah, Ocean View Coffee Crew, Lions defense. Yeah. Aiden Hutchinson is the truth. He is going to get the bag after next year for sure. The three main there are many reasons why Kansas City lost this football game. Not the least of which is missing their second and third best players, Travis Kelce, who is possibly one of the greatest tight ends ever, and Chris Jones, who is their best defensive player. Now, a lot of pundits are like, hey, look, man, as long as they got Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, you ain't got nothing to worry about. And listen, for good reason. Patrick Mahomes has been to the AFC title game all 5 years as a starter. AFC championship game. The last 5 AFC title games have all been in Kansas City. They've been to 3 Super Bowls. They've won 2. So, yeah. What's to miss? Well, not only was Travis Kelce not there, this is his second year without Tyreek Hill. Patrick Mahomes is special. He is a generational talent. He might be the greatest quarterback ever when it's all said and done. But nobody can do it alone, man. Nobody can do it alone. When you're missing Chris Jones and you're missing Travis Kelce, things are not going to go well. Travis Kelce always has a nose for the football. Old reliable. He is very, very reliable when it comes to third downs. Right? But here's the biggest reason Kansas City lost the game last night. All the dropped passes. I think Mahomes was like 71% completion percentage in the first half. And the second half was like 41%. Because dudes were dropping balls like that were right. Like, dude, he was putting the biscuit in the basket. And dudes were just dropping them. Now, a drop here and there, that's fine. But, dude, 4 dropped passes in the second half. And this is weird. Andy Reid made kind of a weird call when he went for it. So it's 4th and 25. It's 4th and 25. And you've got 3 timeouts. Patrick Mahomes, 4th and 25, and you go for it? I guess that's one of his questionable calls. I think the Chiefs are going to be fine. How can I put this? The Chiefs are going to be fine, but Kansas City is not going to be as good as they were last year. Pardon me. KC is not going to be as good. They're not going to be. Listen, that doesn't mean they're not going to be good, but they're not going to be as good as they were last season. All right, let's go back to our guys. Let's go to Jay Blaze. All right, Jay Blaze, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the game last night? What happened?
This shows the deterioration of the team, where you have a couple guys that leave, like Tyreek Hill. They made a bunch of picks off him, but they lost Juju and they lost Hardman.
Yeah.
So he had no one reliable to throw to.
Nope.
And Patrick Patrick is a force multiplier. He can times that team by 3.
Absolutely.
But if no one picks up the ball, you can't do anything. And I'm telling you, the Lions are scrappy, and you better watch out that because I think the Vikings is a Super Bowl capable team, but the Lions, man, they're gonna make some noise.
They really are. And look, man, this happened almost a year ago. But the Eagles played the Detroit Lions in Detroit in Week 1, and they gave us all we could handle. Now we were up. We were up 38-20, and we kind of relaxed a little bit. They came back and scored. They came back and scored 35, but still, like the game was in doubt. The game was in doubt. Detroit gave us all we could handle last year. Then they go off and start 1-6. Then they win 7 of their last 9. Jared Goff, who hasn't thrown an interception, I think, in like 329 straight passes. That's like third all time between Brady and Manning, I think, or Rodgers. So I agree with you. I think the Detroit Lions are going to have a very, very, very good season. I'll give you the last word.
Because I do like Dan Campbell. He is a firecracker.
Yes.
And we need more coaches like that. But you have a bunch of guys that just you don't see the fire in them. But these players love playing for them, and that counts for a lot.
It does.
And the Chiefs, they're in a very tough division because the Raiders and the Chargers and
Broncos
and the Broncos. Those are 3 tough teams. I'm still questioning the coach for the Chargers, but if they can. Each team has a couple issues here and there, but if they can get it worked out, the Chiefs are in trouble. If
I agree.
Don't get it buttoned up.
I agree. Thanks for the call. Yeah, man. The Chargers just hired the former Dallas Cowboys offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore. And I think, let me look this up here. Let me think. Oh, that was back with Norv Turner. But yes, Brandon Staley, this is a make or break year for Brandon Staley. If Brandon Staley likes to go for it a lot. He likes to go for it on 4th down a lot. He fails more than he succeeds, but it's quite at a high rate. If the Chargers, they just gave Justin Herbert $252 million. Okay? They are not about to cut him. It's either going to be Brandon Staley or nobody. That's just all there is to it. And Kellen Moore might actually be the head coach at the end of the year if that goes sideways. All right, let's go back to Apollo in Pittsburgh. Apollo, what are your thoughts on Kansas City and Detroit last night?
Well, first thing is we know exactly why the Giants gave up on Kadarius Toney.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
And I think it's like Jay Blaze was saying, I think it's, you're seeing this slow deterioration of the team because, they've been, I guess you could say, a mini dynasty for these 5-6 years, 5 straight AFC Championship game, 3 Super Bowls, 2 wins. And at a certain point, that stuff catches up to you where it's just, people leave the team, guys get older, coordinators leave, so it's, definitely not the same. And then one thing I wanted to ask you and get your thoughts on, kind of going with Kansas City, what do you think Mahomes and Kelsey think that, hey, we took pay cuts so you could keep guys and they couldn't keep Tyreek, they're not paying Chris Jones, kind of what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, how can I put this? This is almost like I don't want to say it's almost like the Andrew Luck situation, but this is a mistake that a team could make. Is they're going to put it all on their superstars, just like you said. Kadarius Toney, they let him walk. They revamped the offensive line, okay, because when the Chiefs played the Buccaneers in the Super Bowl, it was very, very obvious that they were winning in the trenches. So they did what they had to do there. But their skill position players, they don't really pay their skill position players. And you need that game breaker. Okay, they won a Super Bowl without Tyreek Hill, but they didn't look good at all without Travis Kelce. Just like you said, they let Mecole Hardman walk. Juju is now in New England, and I don't think Juju was that good in the first place. But I agree. I think Kansas City, and this comment by Daniel Pepe says, the Chiefs will struggle early and pick up mid to late season, but won't be where they were last year. I totally agree with that. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's going to be – they won't be the number one seed. I think they'll make the playoffs, be a wild card team and either losing a wild card or division round. And then you'll just keep seeing – I think last year without Tyreek was their peak, and now it's just going to be a slow decline downhill.
Very good. Apollo, thanks for chiming in on this, man. I appreciate it.
All right.
All right, very good. Okay, so now come the predictions. This is the part of the show. This is the part of the show I have been looking forward to the very most. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through all of my division winners. I'm going to go through my half playoff bracket, Super Bowl. Then we'll get to the off-season awards. The NFC East champions are going to be the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are by far and away the best team in the NFC. The Niners are close in talent, and so are the Cowboys. Also, there hasn't been a repeat winner in the NFC East, I think, for like 14 years. 18 years, rather. I think, yes, you can, yes. There you go. That streak is coming to an end. I think the Eagles will win the NFC East. Will they win it going away? I don't know. But I don't see the Cowboys winning that division. I really, 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 really don't. Millennium says, how do you think the Browns are going to do this season? I think the Browns are going to be better than people expect. Remember, they've got that offensive line. They've still got Myles Garrett, who is sneak tip one of the best defensive ends in the league. He just got his bag. They still have Nick Chubbs, and Deshaun Watson is going to be the Deshaun Watson of old. He obviously took some time off with all the massage parlor stuff, but he is going to be much better. He is going to be the Deshaun Watson of old. That's how I think they're going to do. My next prediction is the NFC West. The San Francisco 49ers are going to be your NFC West champions. I think Seattle will push them. Geno Smith is there, DK Metcalf, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. Their running back, Rashad Penny, their running back, like they are like Seattle is, they're a lot better than people give them credit for. They really, 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 really do. But I think San Francisco, they're just too talented. They're too talented. If Brock Purdy doesn't work out, they've got Sam Darnold. I think San Francisco wins that division going away. The Rams are in a rebuild. I think the Rams by midseason are going to trade Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, and Aaron Donald. I think they're going to get into the Caleb Williams sweepstakes. And the Arizona Cardinals, they're definitely in rebuild mode. They've got a diva quarterback who doesn't watch film, who is coming off of an ACL. They just let DeAndre Hopkins walk out the door. So the Cardinals aren't going to do anything. My next prediction, the NFC South. Now, the NFC South, in my opinion, is the worst division in football. You've got the Buccaneers, you've got the Falcons, you've got the Saints, and the Panthers. Now, it could be a little better than we thought. Is Desmond Ridder for real? Well, he now has Bijan Robinson and Kyle Pitts. Those are his two main weapons. It would work better if he had Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley is now with the Jacksonville Jaguars. pardon me, with the Jacksonville Jaguars. But I think that the New Orleans Saints, they have the best quarterback in the division and probably one of the most underrated underrated defenses in football. We'll see how Dennis Allen does. I think in his first or second year with the Saints. But when it comes down to it, the Carolina Panthers have a rookie quarterback. Pardon me, Desmond Ridder. Nobody knows who he is. Pardon me. And you know, listen, Baker Mayfield is one of my favorite players, but he's not the best quarterback in that division. It is what it is. ELL says, I just came in here. I came just in time. Who dat? Yes, the New Orleans Saints will win the NFC South. The NFC North will be won by the Detroit Lions. Look, man, you can say all you want about Kansas City being, you know, down a couple of players and they, you know, the drop balls and all that. But, hey, man, let's give credit to the Lions. The Lions went on the road opening night in the NFL. The Kansas City Chiefs are celebrating their Super Bowl victory. They've got the banner going on, and the Lions took care of business. Think about this. The Detroit Lions' last 2 games, meaningful games, last year at Lambeau, they didn't have a chance to get to the playoffs, but they had a chance to knock the Packers out of the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers' last game at Lambeau Field, and Detroit went in there and took it fucking to him. Then the very next year, the very first game, they go into the home of the Super Bowl champion, one of the loudest buildings in the NFL, and they got the W. I don't know what to make of Jordan Love. I don't know what to make of Jordan Love in Green Bay. Justin Fields could have a breakout year. Who's the other? Oh, and now the Vikings. The Vikings are definitely going to make some noise. Kirk Cousins. Yeah, they've lost Dalvin Cook, but, you know, hey, look, man, Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, and all the rest of that. Let us go to the AFC. Now, the AFC East is going to be highly competitive, what with Miami, New York, and Buffalo. Miami is very good talent-wise, but will Tua stay healthy? Can he avoid another concussion? The New England Patriots, nobody expects them to do anything. The New England Patriots, they're terrible. They just signed Juju Smith. Juju Smith's not a number 1, man. He's not a number 1 receiver. He's a decent receiver, right? So then there's that. Then, of course, you've got the New York Jets. Aaron Rodgers, Dalvin Cook, holy smokes, Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson. That team is loaded. If Mekhi Becton is who we all think he can be, I think the Jets could make some noise. Not enough to overtake the Bills in the AFC East. And oh, by the way, the Bills are kind of flying below the radar. Miami's getting all the publicity because of Tua, and they got Bradley Chubb from the Denver Broncos last year. Xavier Howard, their shutdown corner. It's gonna be a few weeks before Jalen Ramsey comes back, but Jalen Ramsey is gonna be there. That's gonna be a very, very good defense. But again, when Von Miller comes back, and he's gonna miss 4 games, when Von Miller comes back, the Buffalo Bills are going to run away, I believe, with the AFC East. The AFC West, yes, the Kansas City Chiefs took an L last night, but they are still the best team in the AFC West. I think the Raiders will push them. I think the Chargers will push them. Not too sure about the Broncos. That remains to be seen. The AFC North will be won by the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. You know, I mean, dude, Joe Burrow is the G of Gs. Remember, he got sacked 9 times in the AFC Championship game in Kansas City a few years ago, and they still won that game. 9 times. They sacked him 9 times, and he still beat Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City for their berth in Super Bowl, I think 55. The AFC South, this is going to be the most lopsided division in football. I think Jacksonville is they're a 14-win team. I believe that Jacksonville is a 14-win team. I think they're going to make a lot of noise. I think they win the AFC South going away. Now let's get into the playoffs. My number 1 seed in the NFC playoffs, of course, is the Philadelphia Eagles. I think the Eagles have the best roster in football, top to bottom. We've got holy smokes, dude. And here's the thing: we lost a bunch of guys on defense. We lost Jonathan Gannon. We drafted Jalen Carter. We got Nakobe Dean. Like, dude, Jalen Carter was the best player in the draft, and he fell to the Eagles. Howie, the Magic Man Roseman, figured out how to do all that. Golden Age Flash says, bottom line, for your predictions, teams will have to stay healthy. Well, yes. I think anyone who's a sports fan understands that if Jalen Hurts gets hurt, if he tears his ACL, obviously this changes, right? So yes, it's obviously, yes, provided everybody stays healthy. My number 2 overall seed are the San Francisco 49ers. I think it's the same as last year. Eagles 1, San Francisco 2. My 3 seed, the Detroit Lions. I like the Lions. I think the Detroit Lions are an 11 to 12 win team. I think the 49ers are a 12 to 13 win team. I think the Eagles are a 13 to 14 win team. But I think the Lions are going to win double-digit games this season. They play hard for their coach. Dan Campbell loves his guys. His guys love Dan Campbell. The fourth seed, the 4th seed will be the New Orleans Saints, coming from the worst division in football. Now come the wild cards. Wild card number 1, the Dallas Cowboys. I hate the Dallas Cowboys, I do, but listen, man, they're loaded. They've got Micah Parsons on defense. DeMarcus Lawrence is on that defense. They just picked up Stephon Gilmore. They just locked up Trayvon Diggs. Like, that defense is real. That defense is absolutely real. Not real enough to win the NFC East. And then, of course, Dak Prescott. Let's see if he can cut down on the turnovers. My 6th seed, my second wild card, the Seattle Seahawks. I think the Seattle Seahawks they're going to be a very sneaky good team. I think the Seattle Seahawks could be a double-digit win team. I think the Seattle Seahawks could win 11, 12 games. But the only reason why they'll be a wild card is because they're in the same division as the 49ers. And my 7th seed, the last and final wild card, is the Minnesota Vikings. Look, man, the Minnesota Vikings play indoors. Say what you want about Kirk Cousins. He's a baller. Man, he's a baller. He throws for 4,000 yards every season. But again, because they're in a division with the Detroit Lions, who I think are much better than they are, I think I got them in as the 3rd wild card. All right, here we go. Now let's go to the AFC playoffs, and this is when things get interesting. My number 1 seed in the AFC is going to be the Buffalo Bills. Again, I truly do believe that the Bills are flying under the radar. They were America's team last year. What happened with Damar Hamlin getting snowed in. Josh Allen is the face of football. The Buffalo Bills are flying under the radar. They didn't fly under the radar last year. They're flying under the radar this year. Not many people are talking about them. Remember, we crowned them last year. Remember, they dump trucked the LA Rams the first game of the season last year, and we all crowned them and anointed him. Well, then of course they had all the adversity. They made the playoffs, damn near got beat by the Dolphins, and then of course ended up crashing out of the playoffs. My number 2 seed, the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think the Jaguars, because they play in the AFC South, they've got that easy schedule. I think they go undefeated in the division. I still think they're sort of flying under the radar, and Trevor Lawrence is a sneak tip MVP candidate. The 3 seed will be the Kansas City Chiefs. Yes, the Chiefs will win the division, but I think Jacksonville and Buffalo have better records than they do. Of course, Cincinnati will be my 4 seed. And the reason why, and here's the thing, I believe that Cincinnati is a better team than Jacksonville, but because Cincinnati plays in a much tougher division, they got to deal with the Ravens, they got to deal with the Steelers, they got to deal with the Steelers, like they got to deal with the Browns. They don't call that the black and blue division for nothing. So I think Cincinnati is going to be a victim of its own success. The 5 seed is going to be the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson just got his money. He's talking about throwing for 6,000 yards. Just got Odell Beckham Jr. From free agency. They drafted Zay Flowers. J.K. Dobbins is coming back. They've got their new offensive coordinator, Todd Monken. And they're going to fling the ball all over the yard. We're about to find out. Now, if Todd Monken can really maximize Lamar's arms and legs, Lamar could have a season like Jalen Hurts had last season. So watch out for the Ravens. I think they're a sneaky, sneaky good team. My 6th seed, the Los Angeles Chargers, I think they finally break through. I think Kellen Moore, being the offensive coordinator, finally breaks through there with Justin Herbert. Now, keep in mind, the Chargers are almost never without their top 2 receivers, Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. They never seem to be healthy at the same time. Keenan Allen is a great receiver. He can't stay on the field. If the Chargers can stay healthy, if they can get both, and of course they've got Austin Eckler, who had 100 catches plus last year out of the backfield. Pardon me. I think the Chargers are the 6th seed again because they play in a very tough division. And my last and final playoff team, the New York Jets, 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 Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, Quinn Williams. I think they sneak into the playoffs. I think the Jets are probably a 9-10 win team. The AFC East is going to be tough. It is going to be tough. It was a tough decision between the Jets and the Dolphins because the Jets and the Dolphins are very, very, they're very close in talent, but I think the Jets have the edge on defense. So those are my AFC playoff teams. Let's now talk about the playoffs. So the conference title games, the conference title game, the NFC championship game is going to be another repeat. It's going to be the Eagles and the 49ers. The AFC championship game is going to be the Buffalo Bills and the Baltimore Ravens. Now, I have the Eagles defeating the 49ers to advance to Super Bowl 58. I've got the Buffalo Bills beating the Baltimore Ravens in the AFC championship game. So the Super Bowl matchup, the Eagles and the Bills. These are the teams that I believe are going to be in the Super Bowl next year. And your Super Bowl champion are your 2023 Philadelphia Eagles. Clearly a homer pick. I'm an Eagles fan. I've watched every snap of every game. I just don't. I mean, barring any unforeseen circumstance, like Jalen Hurts getting hurt or the league somehow. And here's another thing that gives me a little bit of doubt. The Philly rugby play. The Eagles literally hacked the league last year. We hacked the league last year with the Philly rugby play. You know the play I'm talking about. Jalen Hurts is under center. Everybody is crowded in. We've got A.J. Brown grabs one butt cheek. Miles Sanders, which will be DeAndre Swift, will grab the other. They both grab a cheek, and they push him forward. They hacked the league. The big question is, the question was is the NFL going to outlaw the Philly rugby play? They didn't. But I'm going to tell you something right now. We're going to find out how far along the league has caught up to the Eagles because they happen to be playing the New England Patriots on Sunday. If any coach out there with all this time to prepare, if any coach out there can solve the Philly rugby play, if any coach is going to do it, it's going to be Coach Belichick, and it's going to be week 1. So we're going to find out if the league has finally caught up to the Philly rugby play. I don't think they can, but it'll be interesting to see how it adjusts. Now let's go to my off-season, postseason awards. Your offensive rookie of the year is going to be Bijan Robinson, the 4th overall pick in this year's draft out of Texas. I think Bijan Robinson, not only do I think is he going, I think he's going to be like an Ezekiel Elliott. I think he's going to lead the league in rushing, which is going to lead to him being the offensive rookie of the year. The defensive rookie of the year, definitely going to be Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter was the steal of the draft. He was the best player on the board by a mile, and he fell all the way to the Eagles at number 9. Of course, we got Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox. Dude, with Jalen Carter in there, I hated losing Javon Hargrave to the 49ers, which really sucks. But trust me, Jalen Carter is better than Javon Hargrave now, and much less expensive. Your defensive rookie of the year is going to be Jalen Carter. Your defensive player of the year is going to be Sauce Gardner. Defensive player of the year is going to be Sauce Gardner. Sauce Gardner is like he's the best cornerback in football. It's incredible. Second year, like, dude, this dude is the best cornerback. He was the best cornerback in football as a rookie. He was the best cornerback in football as a rookie. Yeah, I do like Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons is going to get some of these, but I think Sauce Gardner edges him out. Comeback player of the year, I believe, is going to be Russell Wilson. Look, I don't think that the Denver Broncos are going to make the playoffs. And they've got injuries at the wide receiver position. What with Jerry Jeudy, Javonte Williams is coming back from an ACL tear from last year. But I know a lot of people bailed on Russell Wilson last year. And the reason why a lot of people bailed on Russ is because we just don't like his personality, right? He's too polished. I think Sean Payton said something to this effect. Hey, stop kissing babies. You're not running for public office, right? I like it. I like that Sean Payton got into. I like that Sean Payton got into his kitchen. But guys, Russell Wilson was his career was trending towards Hall of Fame. It was trending towards Hall of Fame. You can't tell me that one terrible year means that he is completely washed. No, Russ, he clearly took the offseason a little bit more seriously. I think he's down 15, 20 pounds. I think he's down 15, 20 pounds. He looks quicker. He looks faster. He looks more alive. He looks more slender, more svelte. He will be the comeback player of the year. There is absolutely no way that you can tell me that a man who has been to 2 Super Bowls and won 1, had a chance to beat Tom Brady and Peyton Manning in consecutive Super Bowls, is all of a sudden so bad that he's no longer a Hall of Famer. If anybody can fix this guy, it is definitely Sean Payton. My MVP is Jalen Hurts. You better fucking believe it. Look, man, if Jalen Hurts stays healthy, if he has the same kind of year as he did last year, I think he is your runaway MVP. Now, I'm just going to keep it real. Jalen Hurts should not have won the MVP last year. Even if he plays all 17 games, he doesn't win the MVP. The most valuable player every year is Patrick Mahomes, guys. It's Patrick Mahomes. Look, I would have loved for Jalen Hurts to get the MVP last year. I'm not tripping that he didn't, right? He'll probably get it this year. What I figured out, especially in the NFL and the NBA, and to some extent Major League Baseball, the MVP is almost like the best story. Jalen Hurts is, he overcame adversity. We all remember what happened. He's doing poorly in the championship game. Tua comes in. Roadblock says, home team podcast, DS. We know what you're up to. Yeah, I know. Hey. I told you it was going to be biased. I can't help it. But my unbiased opinion is that the MVP should be Patrick Mahomes. But because Jalen Hurts right now has the better story, he's going to be the MVP if he follows it up with the same kind of performance as he did last year. And so those are my predictions. Let's go back to my guys. Let's go to Jay Blaze. All right, Blaze, you heard my picks. You heard my predictions. What do you agree? What do you disagree with?
Well, I think we should change the podcast to Philly Sports Talk.
Yeah. Hey, what do you want, right? What do you want?
Okay, so I have a little bit of an issue with the Bills because what Josh Allen didn't do in that playoff game, and I think Stephon Diggs won to lead because I don't think Josh Allen puts in the amount of work he should. I think he relies completely on his talent, and I think that is an implosion waiting to happen. And I think they're at the end of the window, so I don't know about that. I think the Jaguars are in a weak division.
Yep.
And I think this is the year Trevor Lawrence becomes a top 5 quarterback.
I agree.
And I think they're going to get the number 1 pick or the number 1 seed.
Oh, so Jay Blaze, so you're predicting that the Jaguars will be – so you were predicting that the road to Super Bowl 58 will go through Jacksonville.
I think so, yeah.
Wow, hot take!
Because the AFC East is really strong.
Yeah, they're loaded.
the Chiefs have a really strong division, and that's the weakest division I see in the AFC.
The AFC is loaded. Like, at this point, the AFC is varsity and the NFC is junior varsity, right? That doesn't mean that there aren't good teams in the NFC, but the AFC is not where you want to be, and you definitely don't want to be in the AFC East. I'll give you the last word, or if there's anything else that you had an issue or agreement with.
Oh, I did want to talk about the NFC.
Let's do it.
Yeah, the AFC is so loaded with quarterbacks that Dak Prescott is the top 3 quarterback in the NFC, and that is pathetic.
That makes You know what? You're right. That's how loaded the NFC. This is how depleted the NFC is. Dak Prescott is a top 3 quarterback.
I think the Vikings and the Lions are. Flip a coin. It's the division's going to go to one.
I'll go with that. Two. Yeah, I agree with that. I think you could flip the Lions and the Vikings. I don't think anybody has an issue with that. Yeah.
I think the Saints are going to be a sneaky good team because Derek Carr was disrespected with the Raiders.
Oh, my God.
Completely disrespected.
Yeah, he never...
But I will say, I'm kind of hoping... go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'm kind of hoping they start off slow because you know who was helping coach Derek Carr and the Saints this offseason?
Was it Sean Payton?
It was John Gruden.
Oh, so that's right. That's right.
Start off slow. And if they don't make the playoffs, I think you could see John Gruden to the Saints.
John Gruden to the Saints. So, now, of course, the elephant in the room as far as John Gruden is concerned are those emails. Do you think that's going to be a factor?
It could be because I think the NFL and Snyder completely ramroded him with the emails. Like, they had 10,000 emails, and all it was John Gruden.
Yep. It's like a hit job. And
it makes no sense.
Nope. It doesn't make sense. And John Gruden can still coach, clearly. I think that the New Orleans Saints,
exactly.
Look, and Dennis Allen, I think he's a good coach, but he's always struck me as a coordinator. Now, Doug Peterson had struck me as a coordinator, and he won Super Bowl 52 with the Eagles. But a lot of people think that was really on the back of Frank Reich. But guess what? His name was on the door when we won the Super Bowl. It is what it is. Go ahead.
So I think Dennis Allen is an average coach, but an excellent coordinator.
Yes.
So it sucks losing a guy like that, but the only reason Dennis Allen got that position was because Sean Payton basically said, "Hey, Dennis is here."
Yep.
But I think the Buccaneers could surprise you because, dude, I root for Baker.
I love Baker.
That just has the talent of a quarterback.
Yes, love it.
Like an elite quarterback.
Yes.
And I'm rooting hard for him. The Cowboys, I don't trust their offensive line. If you get a couple injuries, they are screwed.
Yeah, Tyron Smith.
I don't trust Dak Prescott. Yeah. But it's like our backups are not good for the offensive line. Our defense is elite. And Dak, we have really good wideouts.
Yes.
And we always draft tight ends very well.
Yes.
But this is a make or break it year for Dak because Dak, they can get out of his contract end of the year.
That's right. It's the team option.
And I think this is the maker. Yeah, I think this is it for Mike McCarthy and Dak. I think they have to make it to the NFC Championship.
Yep. I think they're almost in, and I'll get to Apollo here in just a second here. I think they're almost in the same position that Tony Dungy was in when he was in Tampa. He had made the playoffs 3-4 years in a row. Warren Sapp, Derek Brooks, Ronnie Barber, Brad Johnson, that whole squad. But the Buccaneers told him, "Hey man, if you don't get out of the first round, you're fired." Well, the Eagles went up there and beat them down, and he was up out of there. In comes John Gruden, wins Super Bowl 37, And of course the rest is history. So let me ask you this. Do you think Mike McCarthy makes it through the season? Because again, keep in mind, he's won 12 games his first 2 years in Dallas. That's pretty goddamn good, dude. Look, give me 25-10 all day, every day. But because it's Mike McCarthy, they kind of look at him as a buffoon. He doesn't really challenge Jerry. He lets Jerry kind of do the things he wants to do. Does Mike McCarthy make it through the season, in your opinion?
So Mike McCarthy, I guarantee he's a good hang. Like,
Of
I
course.
bet Jerry loves to eat nachos and just talk sports.
Right.
And I guarantee Mike McCarthy's great to do that with.
Wow.
So if they start off like absolutely gutter trash, he's gone. But if it's up until the end and they don't, like say they make the playoffs and then they lose round one, I think Mike McCarthy's gone. And I think Dan Quinn gets elevated to head coach.
Yes, I agree.
I don't see Mike McCarthy leaving because his team is loaded. He would have to absolutely fall apart at the seams.
I agree. And the Cowboys are they're definitely elite on defense. But the reason why, and for me, player for player, I think the Eagles are just better. They're not that much better, but we have the better offensive line. We have the better defensive line. We have the better second. I mean, no, I think actually Dallas has the better secondary. We have the linebackers are probably the same.
I will say it is a very big question mark, the coordinators for the Eagles. I haven't seen them yet.
Yeah,
that is a question mark.
Yeah.
And I don't know what your defensive coordinator was thinking going to the Cardinals. I don't understand it. Like, the Cardinals are a train wreck.
Well, here's the thing, Blaze. Look, I totally agree. But I think when Jonathan Gannon took that job, I think he thought that DeAndre Hopkins was still going to be there and Kyler Murray was still going to be there. But they cut Colt McCoy, and he's been sort of a stabilizing force. Kyler Murray is still there. And rumor has it that they're in the whole Caleb Williams sweepstakes thing. So I think Jonathan Gannon knew that there would be challenges in Arizona. Otherwise, the position wouldn't be open. But I don't think that he thought it was going to be this bad. He said, okay, we have some challenges, but now all of a sudden they let DeAndre Hopkins walk out the door. They cut Colt McCoy. They traded Isaiah Simmons to the Giants. Budda Baker is not good at losing. I think Budda Baker is probably one of the best safeties in football. I think he'll be traded before the end of the season. Jonathan Gannon, a defensive guy, is not going to want to move Budda Baker, but I think they're going to have to. So I agree. I think he went to Arizona thinking, okay, this is going to be a challenge, but now here's the thing. Pro Special thinks he went to Arizona to get Caleb Williams next year. Maybe. But you've heard that Caleb Williams might not come out of school if the Cardinals get the number 1 overall pick. So,
well, Caleb's father said, it depends on who the first pick is.
That's right.
Like, if I'm Caleb Williams, like, think of the Browns. They were like a quarterback graveyard for a long time.
Oh my God!
How many of those players, if they had gone to a better situation, would have life-changing, generational wealth?
Oh, my
and
God.
That's what you have to think. Like, if you're going to the Cardinals, like, you're going into a dumpster fire.
It's not a well-run. Look, the Cardinals are not a well-run organization. They hired a coach who had a losing record. They hired a coach who had a losing record in college football. The only reason why Cliff Kingsbury got the job in Arizona is because, number one, he's good-looking, and number two, he coached Patrick Mahomes at Texas Tech. And I don't think Cliff Kingsbury is a bad head coach, but to me, he wasn't qualified to have that. Yeah, he wasn't qualified to get that job, which goes to show the lack of due diligence on the front office part.
Cliff needed some seasoning with like a Patriots organization or something.
Yep.
But I do like Cliff, and the guys love him. Like, they love playing for Cliff.
Okay.
I think Kyler was an egomaniac.
Yes.
When the worst thing they ever did was give him the money.
Oh my God.
But I will say, but if you look at who's playing in the sweepstakes for Caleb Williams, dude, can you imagine him with the Rams? And
being coached by Sean McVay.
Wow.
Like, there's so many better options for Caleb Williams to go to, and him in L.A. Like,
it's perfect.
He wouldn't even have to move anywhere.
Nope.
He could pretty much walk down the street and get some advice from his coach there.
Yeah, Lincoln Riley.
He's in USC.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Wow.
It is the perfect situation.
Yeah, I agree, dude. I agree.
There's so many better options to go to.
Yeah. And thanks for chiming in. Jay Blaze is 100% correct. And John Elway did this back in 1983. Okay, I think the team that had the number 1 overall pick was I think it might have been the Buccaneers or the Colts. It was the Colts. It was the Colts. They had the number 1 overall pick. John Elway told the Colts, "If you draft me, I'm gonna go play baseball," because the New York Yankees had also drafted him. Then, of course, back in 2001, the Mannings. Dude, Archie and Eli were like, no, Eli is not going to San Diego. That is not a well-run organization. Their general manager, A.J. Smith, nobody liked. All right, let's go back to Apollo. Okay, so Apollo, what are your thoughts on my predictions, other than the fact that I'm totally a homer?
Hey, I totally understand. I'd be picking my team too. For the most part, I have the same teams. I got, like, in the NFC, Philly, Detroit, the Saints, San Francisco, Dallas, Minnesota. I'm up in the air between Seattle and the Giants. Which one of those teams, gets in the last spot.
Yeah. The Giants are going to be better than a lot of people think, but because they play in the NFC East, I think they're going to be. Right. I think they're going to have a lot more losses. So I would probably lean towards Seattle, and I mean, I'd lean towards Seattle because Seattle has to deal with San Francisco, but LA and Arizona are terrible.
Right. So I mean, that's where I'm leaning more towards Seattle, but it was just toss up. In the AFC, Bills, Ravens, Jags, Kansas City, Jets. I've got my Steelers in there and Cincinnati.
Okay.
I think the Steelers get the last spot. They sneak in the end.
I don't have a problem with that at all. I don't have a problem with that at all. Matter of fact, you could make the case. Let me go back to my other picks. You could make the case that you could switch the Steelers. You could switch the Steelers with either the Ravens, the Jets, or the Chargers. I don't think anybody would have a problem with that.
I have the Chargers out. One, I've held it against them since they fired Anthony Lynn. I thought he got a raw deal.
Dude.
That year. That was Justin Herbert's rookie year.
He goes 12-4.
The coach, so I root against him.
Yeah, that was bullshit, man. Totally agree. And the way they did Tyrod Taylor, too, that was crazy.
Right. So my AFC title game is Jags versus Bills. I got like you do. I have the Bills winning.
Okay.
NFC title game, Philly versus Detroit. I think not just because last night. I like Detroit. I think Detroit, they get in a wild card, maybe one or two. Somebody knocks off a team here or there, and they get to the NFC Championship game.
Yep.
But Philly beats them.
Okay.
And so Philly versus Buffalo, I got Philly winning because Philly reminds me of the 2013 Spurs when they got beaten Game 7 when they thought they had Game 6 wrapped up. Lost in a close Game 7, were pissed off all 2014,
and came back and dump trucked them,
and destroyed them.
Yes, they dump trucked the Miami Heat. Yes, that was the Ray Allen shot in Game 6.
Right.
And then the Heat came back and won. And dude, that's all San Antonio was thinking about. They got back to the finals and they absolutely just boat raced the Heat. I think I agree because I think a lot of people talk about like Super Bowl hangover. It is possible to have a Super Bowl hangover, but having a Super Bowl hangover is a lot easier if you win the Super Bowl because you and I are around the same age. As long as I've been watching football, whichever team lost the Super Bowl was always awesome the next year. Maybe they got to the Super Bowl next year, maybe they won it, maybe they didn't. But that team that lost the Super Bowl is, they're like, we hear it all the time. Losing feels worse than winning feels good. And so when it comes to like Super Bowl losses, I don't think there's going to be a Super Bowl hangover at all. And if you know anything about Jalen Hurts, you know he's going to do anything but rest on his laurels.
I agree with you there. So that's why I got them coming back with a vengeance. Barring injury, of course. But
of course,
I think if everybody stays relatively healthy, I think they go back and they take what they felt like they had. If it wasn't for a BS a questionable call.
Yeah. Yeah, the way I think about that call is I wasn't upset. I wasn't throwing my thing at the TV because I always put myself in the other team's shoes. If the roles had been reversed and it was A.J. Brown being covered by, well, not Charvarius Ward, he's already with the 49ers, but covered by one of their rookie, and he gets called for the hold or the whatever the case may be, I'm celebrating that too. I'm not gonna sit here and say, well, we didn't deserve. Look, sometimes calls go your way, sometimes they don't. That was a particular call that didn't go our way. I'm good with it.
Right. So I agree with you. Like when you said, I think Jalen Carter, I had him for defensive defensive rookie of the year.
Oh, okay.
My offensive rookie of the year, I don't have Robinson. I've got Jahmyr Gibbs out of Detroit. I think he's going to be like an Alvin Kamara, catching and receiving.
Oh, wow.
So I think he edges out Bijan, helps them vault to the NFC title game where I have.
Okay. All right. Defensive player of the year?
Defensive player of the year, Minkah Fitzpatrick from Pittsburgh.
Oh, yes!
Maybe a homer pick a little, but
I love
he's a hell of a safety.
Yes, he is.
And I think with us, having a healthy J.J. Watt, re-signing Highsmith to a new deal, if our front stays healthy. We got some good linebackers that we picked up in free agency.
Yes.
I think Minkah has a hell of a year.
Man,
my other take is that, because I heard one person say this on TV, they think Aaron Donald gets traded to Pittsburgh.
Are you serious?
It was just like one of those, he gets treated. Everybody's saying he's going to get traded. They're
going home.
Somebody predicted if he goes to Pitt, he'll go to Pittsburgh. And
I think Aaron Donald,
heir apparent to Hayward.
Dude, yo, check this out, man. I never even, because Aaron Donald went to Pittsburgh. He's from Pennsylvania. I'm going to tell you what, if Aaron, oh my God, hold on. Let me go back to my picks. If Aaron Donald gets traded, because I think the Rams are going to be sellers.
Too, right.
I think they're going to be sellers.
Yeah.
I think they're in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes. So if the Steelers pick up Aaron Donald, oh my God. If the Steelers pick up Aaron Donald, I think it's safe to say that we might have 3 teams from the AFC North in the playoffs. And I
have them. I have the Ravens, Cincy, and Pittsburgh.
There you go. Wow. If Aaron Donald goes to the Steelers, oh my God. Man, that makes all the sense in the world.
And right, like you said, he went to Penn Hills. I went to Penn Hills, went to Pitt.
Yeah.
I could see it if the Steelers thinking too, because I know he wants money and all that. But Hayward gets up there. He's up there, and he's talked about retirement around the corner.
Yeah,
he could be, our anchor in the middle, for the next 3 or 4 years. Hayward hangs it up.
Wow, unbelievable. By the way, fun fact: I used to think I knew everything about sports. I was watching a Steelers game, and I looked at Cameron Hayward's eye black. It said Iron Head. I was like, this is Iron Head's kid? I had no idea.
Yep.
Had no idea that was his kid.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
So one question I had, I know comeback player of the year, you had Russell Wilson?
Yeah.
Okay. Would Deshaun Watson count as a comeback player of the year or no because he played those 6 games?
You know what? I think if Deshaun Watson has an exceptional year, I think he could be in that conversation. I don't think he'll be in the conversation, but they'll hold that stuff against him. But yeah, I think Deshaun Watson could definitely be comeback. Like sometimes you just know who the comeback player of the year is going to be. When Alex Smith suited up and started an NFL football game after getting his leg completely twisted into a fucking pretzel, we all knew he was going to be the comeback player of the year. When Adrian Peterson, who after he tore his ACL, comes back and rushes for over 2,000 yards, we knew he was going to be the comeback player of the year. I loved Geno Smith being the comeback player of the year, man. I loved the year that he had in Seattle. That to me, that was one of the coolest stories in football, man, because Geno had bounced around the league. They had written him off, and of course he famously said, all right, they wrote me off, but I didn't write back. He wants to finish his career in Seattle. Seattle, dude, here's the thing. and tell me what your thoughts are on this. I'm going to come to area code 201 here in a minute. The formula appears to be, to some degree, get a very good, very young, very cheap quarterback, and then load up the roster around him. They did that. Russell Wilson was that guy when they did it in Seattle. Russell was still on his rookie deal. They had the Legion of Boom, Cam Chancellor, Earl Thomas, Richard Sherman, Bobby Wagner, dude, Bruce Irvin. Wow, that team was fucking loaded, weren't they? The New York Giants did the same thing. And to some degree, the Eagles did the same thing, even though the guy who won the Super Bowl for us, Carson Wentz, was still on his rookie deal. Do you think that Seattle could use that same formula, with the only difference being we don't have to pay Geno Smith $55 million a year? We can continue to bring in all of these guys and really become sort of a sneak tip defender. What do you think about that?
That makes total sense because, since he's been in the league all these years, hadn't really done much up until last year.
Right.
And even the contract he signed, it's more lucrative than he ever had, but it's not breaking the bank. So that absolutely makes sense where you could get, he was a guy, been around, playing well. Now you surround him with so much talent, he doesn't have to do a whole lot. Just get it in their hands
coaching.
And let them go to work.
There you go.
And I was going to say last thing, my MVP is like you. I got Josh Allen. I think he, since he goes to the Super Bowl, I think he takes that next step and wins the MVP this year.
Okay. I think that the Bills need a running game. They cannot. Yeah. Their running game cannot be Josh Allen, because if it continues to be the way it is, he's going to go the way of Cam Newton. Man, he's going to age very, 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 very quickly. Well, hey, thanks for your thoughts, man, and we'll talk to you next time, brother.
All right. Have a good one, Don.
Awesome. Take care, man. Okay, let's go to area code 201. Area code 201, you're on live with Donovan. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Donovan, it's Neil. How are you, bro?
Hey, Neil, what's going on, brother? How you doing, man?
Good, man. Hope you've been well, bro.
I have. I've been dealing with a minorish health issue, but I'm gonna be okay.
That's good. I'm glad you could take care of that. So, I tuned in late. I don't know your picks, but if it comes to the Super Bowl, I feel the Eagles are going back. They look filthy good.
Dude.
As a Pats fan, I know we're not going to beat you Sunday night, but if we come close, that shows that we're not just a crap team. We're a pretty good team. That's all I care. You guys are just so loaded. And Howie, bro, is the best GM in my opinion.
Dude, Howie Roseman, yo, the guy is a fucking magician. This dude turned Carson Wentz into C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Darius Slay, Jalen Carter. Yeah, like the guy is incredible, and he was smart enough to give Jalen Hurts the bag, but they did it. They did the Mahomes deal. They did the Mahomes deal where his cap hit's not going to be as bad, so they can continue to build around him. But I think Jalen Hurts is definitely that dude.
Yeah, the thing that Howie, I see what he does is like, so he'll take a few years beforehand, right? Before he knows his contract is about to be up, or this guy's going to ask for the pay that he deserves, right?
Yeah.
So he's going to be like, look, let me overpay him right now, right? Give him some good bag, right? And he'll stay with me for an extra 2 years, and I ever would have had him, at least.
Right.
And that's how you get people. You restructure contracts, you pay him up front. Hey, he's crazy good, man. But when it comes to the AFC side, bro, look.
What you got on the AFC, man?
Shot after shot. Huh?
What you got on the AFC, man? Talk to me.
So the Bills, right? I'm a Pats fan. You already know. So ever since my Pats been dropped out after Brady's gone, right? All those years that they've had stacking up, they haven't showed it in the playoffs, and that's going on the quarterback at this point, bro. Okay. You got receivers, running backs, you got a defense. You had this for at least 3 years straight. You had a good one. It got better every year with the talent that was infused in it. The coaches that you had for it, so let's not even forget about that. One flaw you probably had was special teams. I'll give you that.
Okay.
But besides that, no. So I can't say they're going to go and go to the AFC Championship probably, bro.
Okay.
I don't see that. Maybe the Bengals and KC again, or I could see Baltimore at it with KC, and then probably KC or Bengals going over there, and then facing the Eagles. And I think Eagles will take it this time. I think Eagles learn not to be vanilla when it comes to defensive play calling with their D-line.
Ooh, very good.
Now they learned that. They learned that because you can't keep doing the same thing. So with the sound, give Belichick one of those players. See what we do. See what we do. This is how good they are. This is not being cocky. You know this, Donovan.
Look.
Know this,
Bill Belichick is one of the best. And I'll tell you a couple things here. Number one, I think the Eagles definitely beat the Patriots. But what I want to know, what I'm looking to see, I want to know if Bill Belichick can solve the Philly rugby play. Because if there is a defensive head coach that can solve that, it's got to be him. That's the first thing. The second thing,
it got to be him.
It has to be. It has to be.
For sure.
The second thing is that as far as the Bills, they're my pick to go to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. I understand completely why people might have some doubts. Number one, Sean McDermott is a defensive head coach. And it's been offensive head coaches that have been winning all these Super Bowls. It used to be defense wins championships, but the rules have changed so much in favor of offense that it's almost like defensive head coaches are becoming dinosaurs, right? The second thing is the quarterback's coach was Brian Daboll. Brian Daboll is what took Josh Allen from just a feet of clay into a sculpted quarterback. Well, Brian Daboll goes to New York, and we saw how good he made the Giants just that quick. The Buffalo Bills don't have him anymore.
He turned around so good.
It was unbelievable.
It
was unbelievable.
Look, don't sleep on him, and you guys know that. Don't sleep on him this year. Well,
I will tell you this. I am definitely look, I disagree. I think the Patriots are probably a 6-win football team. I could be wrong, but dude, yeah, I don't think the Patriots are going to be that. And a lot of people are saying Bill Belichick's on the hot seat. That's stupid. Bill Belichick has won 6 Super Bowls. There's no way he is ever going to be on the hot seat.
With that, Donovan, I'm like, let me explain how this is what I think was for a play, right?
Okay.
This man's probably at this point, going to get dropped a hammer as a GM. He'll still be a head coach. I think I regard him as the best head coach I've ever seen in my life, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But as a GM, he's made some sloppy mistakes for the past 3-4 years.
He can't draft.
We haven't been able to.
He can't draft. Bill Belichick is a terrible drafter. He can't get the receiver position right. He can't get the
nasty. Let's be honest here. The cornerbacks, the linebackers, the tight ends, the people that we picked up that we used to pick up, he was nasty, correct? But the past 3-4 years, he's been slipping. And I can't knock that anymore. Receiver, bro, you took Harry over all those guys, Debo. How many?
Dude.
I don't even want to go there. That name I just mentioned, I might get kicked off somewhere off of Discord
at
this point. So, I can't even mention his name. I can't even mention the kid. This is how bad it is. In the past community, we can't even mention his name. It's sacrilege at this point.
All right, Neil, call back. Call back, Neil. Looks like you got all right, so it looks like we have a Pats fan in the chat. Says, why are the Jets even there? They couldn't even beat the Pats back up. Jets are overrated. They was healthy and the Pats injured, but they still lost. Problem with the Jets is the only weapon is Wilson, and the O-line is horrible. The coaches suck. Yeah, Woke Queen, I think you're look, I understand your passion, but you are, and I'm not trying to be mean-spirited here, but you're the typical sports bar debater. These are all surface level arguments. The Jets coaches suck. No, they don't. The Jets had the number 1 defense in the NFL last season. Their defensive coordinator will most certainly be a head coach next year. That's the first thing. Then he says if the Jets O-line, fix O-line, get better coaches, they'll make the playoffs. No quarterback is saving them. Just look at how Brett tried. Again, Woke Queen. This is not the same New York Jets football team that Brett Favre joined when he left the Packers. Not the same team. Not the same team. The Jets are loaded. They have one of the best defensive linemen under contract in Quinnen Williams. Nobody can stop him. Will McDonald IV is going to be in the running for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Dude, Sauce Gardner, C.J. Mosley, they are loaded on defense. They are absolutely loaded on defense. I think that's a weak argument. The coaches suck, and come on, like, look how Brett, like, you're no. That is a very weak argument. Not the same team. Says Jets head coach is highly overrated. In my opinion, he doesn't know how to read Belichick. He wasted a timeout and tried to wave his flag at the last minute. Okay, so he's made some mistakes. That doesn't mean he's a terrible head coach. Now, I will say this, Woke. I will say this, Wilt Queen. If it goes sideways early for the Jets, I think Robert Saleh's up out of there. I will give you that. If the Jets start off 0-6, 1-5, Robert Saleh's gone. But these arguments that look, I can agree. I mean, I can certainly agree that the Jets are a little bit overrated, but they've got Garrett Wilson. Dude, Breece Hall is coming back. Dalvin Cook is there. Like, dude, they are absolutely loaded. They're loaded on both sides of the football. So yeah, you're gonna have to come up with you got to come up with something better than that if you're gonna make a statement like that. Wow. So Josh Allen, this is incredible. This is incredible that Josh Allen. Wow. Wilt Queen says it's true because their coaching staff sucks and they can't stay healthy. Come on, man, you gotta do better than that, man. Jets have the worst O-line in their division. You know what? You might actually be right. Yeah, the Bills have a better O-line. The Patriots have a better O-line. Bills, Jets, Patriots, Dolphins. Yeah, I'll agree with that. Big Tay 85 says, who do I have? Quarterback rookie of the year. I think the best rookie quarterback is going to be Bryce Young. All right, Neil. Sorry you got cut off there. Go ahead and continue your thought.
Oh, no problem, bro. So Bill Belichick is going to be on the hot seat. Look, man, Kraft hasn't put his foot down. Truly, man, he says he has, but he hasn't. So he's going to come up to him and like, look, with the GM stuff, you've been fucking up. So I'm going to have to, like, diminish your powers. Fully as a GM, you still have input in the draft and other stuff, but you will not have the final say to say, right?
Yeah, a lot of people. Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that Bill Belichick is both the head coach and the general manager for the Patriots. I agree. They need to get him out of the GM role. Yeah.
Look, so here's the thing, Donovan. As a man, I can admit to you, absolute power corrupts absolute. You can't give any man that type of too much power like that, bro. Nope. That's too much power.
Hey, we learned that lesson. Look, we learned that lesson here in Philly with Chip Kelly.
We learned that with Bill O'Brien, and he's our OC. He's a great OC, right. A decent head coach for a horrible GM. Let's be honest here.
Yeah,
right.
You're right.
So when I look at that, right, Kraft can present that, but Bill Belichick and his ego, and also rightfully so, man has brought us all the rings we can ever have. And I really appreciate him and thank him for that. But he's going to come up to him, Bill's going to be like, nah, bro, I still want that power. And if you don't want to give me that, I'll go elsewhere. You know what? At that point, I'll be like, thank you so much. I hope we have a ceremony. We do something for you, but deuces. I'm going to put Billy O as the head coach, or I'm going to put Mayo as our head coach. I don't care.
Ooh, Gerard Mayo. Yeah, I think Gerard Mayo is going to make a very good head coach.
A whole new goddamn culture, Donovan. I'm sorry, Brady.
Wait a minute. What happened to the Patriot way? The Patriot way, he was the system. He was the system.
It works, right? Only if you have those pillars along with the coach. We not only lost Brady because people keep focusing on Brady. Both the McCourties are done.
Yes, that's right.
Done. Hightower's done. Right? The running backs that we had are gone. The O-lineman, bro. Andrew's the only one left from that O-line that we had. That beautiful O-line that we had, bro. Come on. When you lose 3-4 pillars, those players that hold what the coach preaches in check amongst the players, but also goes back at the coaches when the coaches are wrong. If you remember, McCourty did this at time to time with Belichick, like, yo, what's up, bro? You wrong. Nah. You can't correct this. You can't come back right? So when you lose that, you can't initiate that Patriots way. That Patriots way can still be done and modernized, right? But you can't do that if you don't have those pillars. And if you see these players, then the Rockets that we have for the past 3-4 years, we had problems with players and them going with the coaches, and then the debacle that we did last year with putting a defensive coach as an OC.
Oh,
you know?
God, that was a disaster.
You know what I mean, Donovan?
Yeah, that was a disaster. Thanks for calling in, Neil. Yeah, he's right. He's right, man. He's right. Yeah, Bill Belichick is not, like, he has whiffed on a lot of draft picks. He really, 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 really has. AT says, I think Kraft keeps Bill on long enough for him to pass Don Shula. You might be right. Havoc Pleasant says, y'all sleeping on the Steelers. We might. Because if Aaron Donald goes to Pittsburgh, Holy shit. That's going to change Aaron Donald to the Steelers. Oh, my God. I can't think. Dude. Wow. Wow. Okay, let me, yes, Bryce, Bryce Young. Yep, Bryce Young. Yep, and he's got Andy Dalton. A lot of people sleep on Andy Dalton as well. Andy Dalton led the Cincinnati Bengals to the playoffs, I think, 5 or 6 straight years? Let's see what else we got here. Ocean View Coffee View says because the NBA teams are watered down. Yeah, Jesus. Yeah, there are too many NBA teams, man. They need to get rid of a couple of franchises. Memorabilia says the Chiefs choked that easy win. No, I don't think so. I think the Lions are legit. Ocean View Coffee View says there are way too many chicks as well. Yeah, there are too many fucking women on ESPN, guys. There just are. Look, I don't, honestly, dude, seriously, these women I don't want a female's opinion on sports. I just don't. The show, The Herd. When Colin moved to FS1, he started off with his co-host Christine Leahy, and she was fucking insufferable. Typical pretty blonde who was fucking brainless. All she did was argue, and Cowherd just made sport out of her. So then they brought in Joy Taylor to replace her. And Joy Taylor was actually pretty good for a while until she started feeling herself and running off at the mouth. That tanked the Herd's ratings even more. So then they finally decided to hire a man as the second fiddle, Jason McIntyre. And now the Herd on FS1, they have their highest ratings in that show's history now that they've hired Jason McIntyre. The people have spoken, man. And I'm sure Christine Leahy is a nice person, but I don't want to hear her I don't need her opinion. I need you to look pretty and report the facts. That's it. I could not care less about your opinion. I just don't. Mina Kimes, I don't give a shit about her opinion. I'm tired of seeing her all over the place. Heather Dinich, Elle Duncan, who's the worst of the fucking worst. Oh my God. Elle Duncan is she is so fucking cocky and arrogant. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Yeah, the fact that, ESPN, way too many fucking bitches working for them. It's ridiculous. The Level Up Man says, my favorite pastime used to be College Game Day on Saturday mornings, but Disney has turned me off to watching any of it. Honestly, I watch the first 10 minutes of College Game Day because that's just the most excited, but I'm just tired of, I'm done with all the woke stuff. Lorenzo says, as long as it ain't the 49ers, I could care less. Yeah, Jay Belay says ESPN wants Pat's audience. Yeah, that is absolutely correct. Jerry Evans says, my Chiefs are lost without Kelsey. That is correct. God, Kadarius Toney forgot how to catch. Jesus. Holy shit, he just lost his tire? Did they not put the lug? This dude is riding around on a wheel. Damn. Yeah. Lorenzo says coaching is the problem for the Chargers. Yeah, I think that Brandon Staley is coaching for his job this season. Snowdemi says RIP Colt Brennan, former Hawaii quarterback, set all the records. Pro Special says, what do you guys think of the refs letting the Chiefs right tackle false start all game? There are a few guys who start a little early on that right side, one of which is Lane Johnson. I'm all right with it. Lane Johnson is the greatest right tackle ever. It's not close. He hadn't given up a sack in 3 years. It's been ridiculous. Golden Age Flash says, uh-oh, I foresee a civil war in the chat room. Yes. Ocean View Coffee Crew Says the Eagles' defense is terrifying. Dude, we are the University of Georgia North, man. Ocean View Coffee Crew says, I just don't trust Geno Smith. Daryl Clark says, yeah, Seattle does have a really good wide receiver trio. DK, Lockett, and JSN. Jackson Smith and Jigma. Yes, Michael Thomas is back from injury. So Michael Thomas, along with Chris Olave, a couple of Ohio State guys, Derek Carr's going to have a big year down there in New Orleans. Miami J says, no, bro, this is our year. Fins up. I wouldn't be surprised, but, you know. Apparently, Aiden Hutchinson has a super hot sister. Okay. Big Tay says, Colts finally got a team, but it's going to take a while. Yeah, Anthony Richardson is raw. Like, that dude is raw. He's as big as Cam Newton. The Level Up Man says, how bad does your organization have to be to have college kids running back to school? Man, pretty damn bad. Pretty damn bad. Let's see. What Queen says, Kay and Mina are annoying. Mina says wins aren't a quarterback coach, but Mahomes is giving Brady a run for his money because he wins. Mina Kimes, all she does is parrot shit. Like, there is no, like, she has zero talent. Like, no talent. Like, Mina Kimes is terrible. Mina Kimes is terrible. L. Duncan is terrible. Now, Sam Ponder, I do like Sam Ponder as the host of NFL Countdown. That I do like. I think she does a very good job. I think she does a very good job hosting the show. Jaeger says, has Jason Kelce retired? Asking for a Patriots fan. No, Jason Kelce is not retired, but I think this is probably Jason Kelce's last season as the center for the Philadelphia Eagles. Walt Queen says, one thing I don't like about Mina is how she was one of the people who wanted
90 seconds.
Who wanted to trade to go to a different team, but once he got traded, she got mad. Yeah, dude, she doesn't know whether she's coming or going, dude. Who cares? Big Tay, is Chris Jones getting traded or staying with the Chiefs? He is staying with the Chiefs. They are going to pay him. They are absolutely going to pay him. They would be stupid to trade Chris Jones. If they trade Chris Jones, that would really make it tough.
60 seconds.
Millennium says, do you think Aiden Hutchinson makes MVP? No. Defensive players don't win MVP awards. Devin in the chat says, Miami was my home team. That's why I'm an Eagles fan. Right. The Roadblock 85 with the 50. With the $50 super chats. Says, Don, you should have been doing sports all along, bro. This is better than the sports networks. Well, yeah. Yeah. Hey, now, here we go. Woke. Okay, now Woke Queen is coming with it. Says, Dolphins can't stay healthy. Pats, no offensive weapons. And the Jets, sus.
10 seconds.
Offensive line. Horrible O-line and mediocre head coach. Now, that I agree with. I think they're going to have to get that offensive line together. They're going to have to. Because if they don't, it's over. So now that I agree with. Devin in the chat says, a course in wife school should be on the basics of the sports your man enjoys, top players and news feed headlines in their box so they can converse intelligently and watch along. You guys want to see something here? You guys want me to flex a little bit of Devin's muscle here? Want me to flex a little bit of Devin's sports knowledge? All right, Dev, you're in the chat. Let me try to think of a... Watch this. I'm trying to think of a question that most casual sports fans won't know. I have so many running through my head. Jesus. Okay. You know what? We're going to go complete. We're going to go completely. We're going to go. All right, Devin, here we go. We'll start in the entertainment field first. What was the greatest WrestleMania of all time? The greatest WrestleMania of all time. The reason I know she's going to get these right is because I talk all through everything we watch. By the way, this quiz is brought to you by Black Bull. Black Bull Extreme, I will be using this on my girlfriend today. I would be using this on my girlfriend today. She said 3 or 4. Yeah, WrestleMania 3. Now that is an opinion. That's an opinion of mine. Let's see. All right, Devin. In your opinion, there it is. Hulk Hogan body slammed Andre the Giant. In your opinion, Devin, give me who you think is the greatest defensive tackle of all time. Who, in your opinion, Devin, is the greatest defensive tackle of all time? Oh boy. Doesn't taste as good. It doesn't taste as good as the honey packs, but oh my God. Okay, we got Reggie White. That's a good one. Oh, Jay Blaze, you're on the line. My bad. Well, I'll wait for Devin to answer. There you go.
Hey, let me
what's up, brother?
Up one more topic with you.
Yeah, sure.
So we had Trey Lance, who got completely overdrafted.
Yep.
Who probably shouldn't. He probably should have been an undrafted or 6th or 7th round pick. And then
no, I agree.
We had last year Aiden Hutchinson, who was the second pick. They gave an excellent draft rating to the guy who went first. Do you think they're giving better draft ratings to people of color?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yep. And I'll tell you something else too, man. Oh, there you go. I'll tell you something else too, man. I think Carson Wentz's exit out of Philadelphia, I think a lot of that was racially motivated. Because when Carson Wentz got his money before Dak Prescott, like, dude, ESPN did its level best to run Carson Wentz out of town. I can't even begin to, yeah. All right, Dev. Let me bring a racing question in here, because she watches a lot of racing with me. Who are the two drivers? And just so you guys know, I'm going to keep my hands up here so you guys know I'm not giving her answers or nothing. Who are the two drivers for the Formula One Ferrari team? The Formula One Ferrari racing team. I'm keeping my hands up here. Who are the 2 drivers for the Formula One Ferrari racing team? I'm going to hit her with a baseball question here in a minute. Yeah, Brian Dawkins, he's my favorite Eagle of all time. He's my favorite Eagle of all time. I have to keep my hands up here so nobody thinks I'm giving her any answers. This is why Dev is the best, y'all. Did you guys see that? There it is. Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc. How many of you guys knew the answer to that question? I'll wait. Oh, Jaeger Juarez says the Ferrari's clowns, I call them. No, Jaeger, you stop that right now. That is blasphemy. Dude, I love Team Ferrari, man. Carlos Sainz drove his ass off. And yes, Oscar Piastri is oh my God, don't get me started on Formula One. Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris, dude, that's the young gun squad right there. The delay between my answers and the video is killing me. That's okay. That's all right. Yeah, who else knew the answer to that question? All right, let's go. Let me think. I'm trying to ask her questions. No, they were not lucky at Monza. They were not lucky, Jaeger. Carlos Sainz held off Max Verstappen. Pierre Gasly is, we love Pierre Gasly. We love Pierre Gasly. My favorite drivers, I love Carlos Sainz, love Charles Leclerc, love Pierre Gasly. I also like Sergio Perez. Sergio Perez is probably one of the most underrated drivers in Formula One because his teammate happens to be Max Verstappen. But we love auto racing. We really, really do. Let me think. Trying to think of let me think of a football question here. All right, Dev, let me test your football knowledge. Yeah, Max Verstappen, Jesus. Everybody's racing for second place with that dude. It's incredible. What? Oh my God, Jaeger, I'm gonna ban you. Dude, Checo Perez is not bad. That dude can drive. Oh my God, Jaeger, I can't believe this. I can't believe it. I'm about to ban the fuck out of Jaeger. I'll ask Devin one more. Question. I don't want to bore you guys too much. Let me think. Where's the? Want to make sure that everything is. Oh, there it is. There we go. Okay, there we are. I'm getting some delays here. Yeah, the point is, guys, I'm getting some choppiness. But I did all that to tell you guys this, is that... I did all that to tell you guys this, man. I guess to bring it around to relationships. Devin and I, man, that is one thing that we love to do together, man, is like when we watch sports together, we really do have a lot of fun. We really, really do. Yeah, she says 2 points in a safety, 4 downs in a series. There is no crying in football. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. Oh, wow. But yeah. Okay, so Jaeger says my top sports are football, MMA, NFL, Formula One. Oh, yeah. Dude, I love Formula One, man. I love Formula One. And Jaeger, you need to give it up for the Ferrari boys in Monza. God damn it. Give it up! By the way, Audi is coming to Formula One in 2026. Stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for that. Ah, here we go. Here we go, Dev. So, Devin, Aaron Rodgers tagged himself in a picture. He tagged his old teammate, David Bakhtiari. And there were rumors that maybe the Jets would trade David Bakhtiari. Maybe they would trade him to the New York Jets. So, Devin, if you're the Green Bay Packers, what is, if you would consider trading David Bakhtiari, who's the one player that you would ask for if you were Green Bay? Or, I'll tell you what, if you knew Green Bay was going to want to trade David Bakhtiari to you, what's the one player you would not give up? Ty to Great TV says, damn, wish my girl was into sports. You got a good one? Dude, I got lucky, man. I got lucky. Iron Frame says, Don, what are your MLB playoff predictions? Dude, the Braves are going to win the World Series. And I hate to say it, but they're the best team in baseball by a look. And the Phillies are doing great this season. But dude, one of my two favorite players in baseball are Juan Soto and Ronald Acuna Jr. I love Ronald Acuna Jr. I think he's the first player. Oh, Devin says, what was the question? Who's the one untouchable? Oh boy. Apollo beat her to it. Apollo beat her to it. He said Garrett Wilson or Sauce Gardner. Yeah, Quinnen Williams. Yeah. Okay. You guys know the answers to all these questions. I'm trying to flex Devin's sports knowledge, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Let me read the last few. Yeah, Oscar Piastri is very, very good at McLaren. Yes, Audi is coming to Formula One in 2026. And I think, and this stuff always comes up in F1, they're rumored to have shown interest in Carlos Sainz. Oh, there we go. Yeah, Neil Ray says, I take Gardner. Yep. Oh, yeah, we'll do it during a watch party. Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, I didn't have the watch party yesterday, guys. I didn't do the watch party because I didn't have it set up correctly, but we will be doing watch parties. Please believe. Yeah, dude, Ronald Acuna is King Life says going to watch The Nun too. Dude, me and Devin are going to watch that in the theater tomorrow. New York Giants Blood says her friends and family look at me sideways picking Detroit. My only regret was not putting money on it, right? Exactly. Okay, very good. Excellent. All right, guys. I think this is a pretty solid maiden voyage. Oh my God, did I really do this for 2.5 hours? Oh my God, dude. Wow. Yeah, dude. Devin and I, we watched The Nun again. The first one, dude. Oh my God, dude. I like horror movies that have like priests and nuns and upside down crosses. I love the demons and all that stuff. Love that shit. Dude, they were all over Mahomes last night. Yeah, man. Yeah. So so my sports talk show, Sharpe Sports Talk, it's going to be on Fridays and Mondays. It's going to be Fridays and Mondays. So stay tuned for that. For those of you tuning in, let me go back to, oops, there we go. Let me just recap what all of my picks are. So your NFC East champion is going to be the Philadelphia Eagles. The San Francisco 49ers will win the NFC West. I've got the New Orleans Saints winning the South. I've got the Detroit Lions winning the North. In the AFC, I've got the Bills winning the East. I've got the Kansas City Chiefs winning the West, though that could be in doubt if they don't get Chris Jones until Week 8. I've got the Bengals winning the North, and I have the Jaguars winning the AFC South. Here's my NFC playoff prediction. The number 1 seed is going to go to the Eagles. 2 is San Francisco. 3 is Detroit. New Orleans rounds out the top 4. I got the Cowboys in at the 5 seed. Seahawks in at number 6, and the Vikings in at number 7. In the AFC, I've got the Bills as the number 1 overall seed, followed by the Jaguars at number 2. I got the Chiefs at number 3, though they could fall to 4. I got the Bengals at 4. You could probably switch those. Number 5, I've got the Ravens. 6, I've got the Chargers. Number 7, I've got the Jets. Conference title games, I've got the Eagles playing the 49ers and the Bills playing the Ravens. I've got the Eagles over the 49ers in that rematch. I've got the Bills defeating the Baltimore Ravens for a Super Bowl 58 matchup between the Eagles and the Bills. And, of course, I am selecting the Philadelphia Eagles as the Super Bowl champions. Offseason awards, Offensive Player of the Year. Offensive Rookie of the Year is going to be Bijan Robinson. I also think he is going to be the rushing champion. I think he leads the league in rushing. Defensive Rookie of the Year is going to be Jalen Carter. He was the best player in the draft, fell to the Eagles at number 9. Defensive Player of the Year, Sauce Gardner, shutdown corner. Comeback Player of the Year, I got Russell Wilson. As the Comeback Player of the Year. My MVP is Jalen Hurts. Got Jalen Hurts in the house. He's the better story. Now, just so you guys all know, the MVP every year is Patrick Mahomes. He is. But we've got a little bit of Mahomes fatigue, and that's really what this is all about. Yeah, man, this was a lot of fun. Hopefully I can keep this going because, like I said, I love sports. I've loved sports since I was a kid, so looking forward to doing this. Tyga Great TV says Cowboys winning the NFC East, though, my brother. The hell?
Nope.
No, they're not.
Really, nigga?
All right, guys. I'm going to go take a shower. I'm going to pick out Devin's outfit for tonight's festivities and beat the brakes off that ass. Real talk. Thank you guys very, very much for tuning in. Thanks to Apollo, Neil Ray, and Jay Blaze for calling in with their thoughts. And I'll see you guys next time. Take care.